It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was great. On Sunday, I took the kids to a fun time with skit store. It was fun. It was sip and paint, just my kind of thing. We painted, we sipped and danced, and kids love that. And then my daughter was given a big box of gifts. She got 100K shopping voucher.
Whoa!
I'm telling you.
Really?
And she also got a tripod with 3 wireless mics.
Really? Where?
Wow! Skit store.
Oh, really?
It was so exciting for us. Yes, so that's how we spent our day yesterday.
Nice, fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
This economy.
I'm
Please, when am I
telling
coming
you.
to take some from
Please,
you?
come.
100,000 naira?
Voucher. Please, just 20K would buy me groceries.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. Grateful to God for life. Saturday, I was going to go to Happiness Center finally after many months. And as I was going to drive out, my staff called me that, I hope you know that we are still on CMD Road. I said, since when? They left the house 6:30. They were still on CMD Road as at 3 hours after. So, yeah, on Saturday, I just turned back and I was in bed all through on Saturday. Heard the traffic was hellish. But, Sunday was good, went to church, and I just spent the time truly resting. Like, I woke up on Sunday morning and I felt like, wow, you needed the rest. A lot of times you don't even know. I just kept falling asleep, wake up, sleep. I was like, all things work together for me. Let me enjoy the time at home.
Yeah.
How are you doing, actually?
I'm
was
doing
your weekend?
awesome. Yes, my weekend, I was in Abuja this weekend. I went for the National Leadership Conference, and it was powerful. So I was there. It started on Friday and ended on Saturday. I did not just wake up to go for that conference. I had something in mind. So I've been doing my business for over 3 years now. And I have a target of where I want to be in the next 5 years. And I decided that I needed to get some leadership skills that would help me even while I upskill the business. I upgrade myself as a leader because definitely I'm going to be working with more people as I progress. So it was packed. I have my notes full. I'm going to use this week to write down all the things and work out an action plan that I will follow through so that it's my money's worth. But I really had a great time. Gotney Leadership Center is just amazing.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
yes.
And then you came.
Yes, I was also there. I was part of the panel speakers, and it was
Yeah.
really interesting to be there. And BT is right. We all need to keep learning. And I was happy to be able to offer a bit of my experience, especially in my career in the media. But more importantly, the traffic in Lagos was crazy. My family spent 6 hours on Friday, in fact, 6.5 hours on Friday. The kids were in school, were in the car, picked up the kids from school. They didn't get home till way in the evening. Saturday, I wasn't around, but Sunday was hellish also. It was really bad. So we tried to make people call just to know what's going on. But their worry is two things. The weather. Weather takes them 4 days back, according to authorities. Secondly, Julius Berger will do their work, but we need the traffic attendants to do their job, to ensure, and also Nigerians are taking one way, blocking. So when they make a detour, we should just stick to the diversions and follow. But no, we always have to take one way and just clog everything up. So there are various factors that's causing this gridlock, but we need to all just take responsibility across board. But I'm really happy that I hope they finish quickly because they're telling me they don't want to give a date. But they're thinking hopefully end of the month. But if the rain keeps falling,
It's 26th.
no, end of July, they're saying.
Oh, okay.
But if the rain keeps falling, it might extend, so they're not sure on the
If
specific.
you keep falling, it's
Yeah.
raining.
Yeah.
Rainy
Rainy
season
season.
every day.
All right,
So this is the...
let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Why discos are bent on electricity tariff increase. Dogara Oshoba back petrol subsidy removal and service chiefs. Flood sweeps newly-wed man in Ondo. Government abducts 9 passengers. Experts optimistic despite foreign reserves drop to $34 billion. Envoy, Population of Nigerian students in UK rose by 107,000 in 3 years. Zenith Bank CFO Mukhtar wins Africa Award, and largest ever pilgrimage begins in Saudi Arabia. Okay, which story?
We have the human interest story. So I will start with the gunmen. They said they were operating at the Imo axis of Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway, and they kidnapped an Enugu-bound passengers. They killed 2 and robbed others. So according to the victims, they said, first of all, they hailed from Amangwo, Olokoro in Umuahia, and they were traveling to Enugu on Saturday for a burial when they were attacked. So according to them, they said that, so the person who was speaking identified himself as a Francis, said their Sienna bus was flagged down at gunpoint near Arondi Zuogo Junction, and the vehicle was later diverted to Arondi Zuogo Road in Imo, where they were led to a hamlet far into the bush. So according to the story, said those heavily armed gunmen stopped them and asked all of them to come down. So one of them now said, do you know who I am? Why are you asking us to come down? They say, today you will show us who you are. So they led them into the hamlet, said there were over 50 of them in that particular hamlet. And then they said, who is that one that asked who was trying to tell us or prove to us who he was? And they shot him there. One other person with them tried to escape. They shot the second person, and then they asked them to release 2 of them, the remaining 2, asked them to go back and tell the people what they saw, that they had told them not to come out to vote during the last elections. They were disobedient, they came out. They also told them to observe the sit at home every Mondays, and they are stubborn, they are opening their businesses, so they should go back and tell them in town that they are ready for them and they are coming back.
We're in trouble.
So sad. So sad. The major headline, the
Nigerians are just in trouble.
is, well, why the discos are bent on tariff increase is what the headline carries. And when you go into the story, the Abuja Electric Disco Company, which covers the Kogi State, Abuja itself, Niger, Nasarawa State, attributes this compulsory increase to exchange rate being floated. They said the fact that before they used to have, under the previous process, they were getting exchange rate at 441 naira to $1, but now it's been revised, and it's the first time in history that we're having official rates being based on market forces, and it's 750 to $1, which will have impact on the tariffs associated with electricity consumption, saying that everybody is going to pay more. There is no way to avoid that. Of course, Labour, even despite Labour's kicking, there's nothing, they say there's nothing they can do. They said that the payments of subsidy has ended under the last administration, so the government cannot subsidize power for Nigeria anymore. The manufacturers, Association of Nigeria, are complaining, saying that the tariff already went up by 187%, and the government is indebted by 75 billion, I think. Yeah, 75 billion in electricity bill. So government is owing a lot of money, but that it seems like they're transferring the burden of sustaining their business to citizens, consumers. So it's a challenge for the business owners, because when you read it, they have a lot of debt they are paying in dollars. So they have to find a way to, and this is the only window. There is a window for review. But they were saying that the review wasn't meant to always be upwards. The review is to review to market forces. It's just that in recent times, the consistent market forces keeps taking the price of power up. That those that are on prepaid meter can take advantage and buy bulk energy right now at the current rates before the new one takes effect. Trust me, I am going to go and buy. I hope I'll be... I have to buy.
It's scary.
Because...
It's scary. Any story?
Yes, I have the former House of Rep Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, and they also say here the elder statesman Olusegun Osoba yesterday has hailed our president for taking decisive steps to reposition the country within 3 weeks, they say. Dogara was at the 6-year tenure of the ECWA General Secretary, Reverend Yunus Nadi Jr. in Kaduna State while he made, that's the Thanksgiving service, when he made this. He said that at first, if we know he was opposed to the Tinubu-Shettima ticket, but so far the president has demonstrated commendable leadership qualities. He says we stand by him on the subsidy removal, but he must be courageous to pursue the subsidy cabals and recover all the stolen monies from them and prosecute them accordingly. There's so many other people. We also have the PDP senator representing Southern Kaduna, who also commended the president on the appointment of service chiefs. He says it reflected, you know, equity and justice, and he also said he was happy he took decisive steps about taking off the subsidy, removal of subsidy, but that he should provide palliative to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy. Oshoba also talked about how even those who were against the president during the primary and general elections have all, you know, just are now all supporting him because they see how he's already, you know, taking decisive steps. So the operative word here is decisive steps. People think he's doing well, and they're hoping to see how this pans out for Nigerians and our economy going forward.
Moving on to the Punch. Naira devaluation pushes up vehicle duties by 40%. Over 452,000 UTME candidates jostle for over 78,000 medicine spaces. Masked gunmen kidnap Ogun businesswoman, villagers rescue farmer. Clerics warn Muslims not to borrow for Salah rams. Lagos Ibadan gridlock traps motorists for hours. Discos failed to remit 208 billion naira, says federal government. And debt servicing rose to 1.24 trillion in Q1. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, there's also another human interest story where kidnappers went agog this weekend. So this particular man, Jimo, who was a farmer, was planting tomatoes on his farm at Saparu village, Isaleoha, Imeko Afon. This is in Ogun State, while these gunmen covered themselves with face masks, shot 5 times in the air to scare people away. And when people had run, they came and they kidnapped Jimo, who was planting. However, some farmers around him, when that happened, you know, picked up their tools and, you know, gave a hot chase to the kidnappers. So they abandoned him and they ran away. So they were able to rescue that. But that same day, after a few hours, there was also another woman who was returning from her shop, Utefila, and she was kidnapped at her residence. So she just came down from her vehicle, asked the daughter to open the gate, and then these men who were hiding in the corners rushed her. They carried her away from the vehicle, took her. They were driving down, and she had a little baby inside her vehicle as well. But after a while, they had to abandon the vehicle and the little baby and took her away. They had already made a phone call to her family members with her phone number, saying that they would call them to, you know, request for the ransom probably. But then police is investigating this. They are going after to find a way to rescue the woman.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. I was going to take the story ahead of the Eid al-Adha festival. On Wednesday, Islamic clerics have advised Muslims to shun desperation or celebrate the festival within their means. This was said. This was said by on Sunday by Professor Taufik Abdulaziz. Warned Muslims faithful against borrowing for the Salah celebration, admonishing them to buy only what they can afford. Many people are buying cows, rams. You know, that's usually the basic norm. But if you can't afford it, whatever you have, you can. He said they should buy what they can afford. They should please Allah alone and remove desperation. And they should buy what they can afford. Yeah, I said that already. And pretty much it's all in submission to the sacrifice and patience of the father prophet Ibrahim. That's what the whole season is about. So Muslim faithfuls have that feedback from the cleric.
I have a story here. It's about JAMB, and JAMB is saying that from the data that they've gotten from the 2023 UTME, it reveals that the highest percentage of candidates that sat down for the exam chose medicine. And they said 452,443 candidates applied for medicine in Nigerian universities, but we have only 78,578 slots.
So even if all of them pass?
Even if all of them pass, they can
get in.
And they're all... Go ahead.
Okay, then we also have 239,018 candidates that apply for social sciences, but we have only 97,744 slots. And then we have 227,453 candidates that apply for science-related courses, but we have only 141,397 slots.
So
That's one.
we need more capacity.
It's a very interesting one. So now, but we now have, when they go to engineering, we have over 68,000, but 163 slots. 163 candidates apply for only 68 slots.
Okay.
Now, on the other way around, they said agricultural related courses and education related courses have it in reverse. We have less candidates applying for these slots.
Yeah.
So they're giving different reasons why. A lot of people say parents determine for a lot of children what
But
they
if not,
do.
someone they won't be
Because you see children who are leaning more towards arts and humanities, but their parents are insisting from just that they must do sciences.
Yeah.
Then they're also saying on the government side, too, you need to make it more attractive for these candidates. We need to tell them more what it does, and also remuneration in that field has to be better.
Let's not even kid ourselves.
Yes.
It's a good topic, and people that are going into medicine, not so much because they want to become the doctors in Nigeria.
No.
They're thinking of how they can from
Japa.
there. Japa is a Japa. Yeah.
So, major headline. The Naira devaluation pushes vehicle duties up by 40%. Based on the CBN reform, the Nigerian Customs Service has adjusted the exchange rates. The duties for cars used to be 422 naira to a dollar. Now it's not even markets. It's not. They didn't float it though. They put it at 589 to a dollar, and yet all the agents, freight forwarders, clearing agents, importers are calling for immediate reversal of the policy, saying that this will take them out of work, that many Nigerians will not be able to afford this, their customers will not buy the vehicles, and they would essentially be out of jobs. The conversation started with the fact that a Toyota Camry that they probably have cleared for 900,000 naira is now going to cost 1.2 million naira to clear. A Venza that will have cost 1.6 will now cost 2.2 million naira to clear. And that a lot of citizens are now having to face multiple challenges. This goes with increased price. They said fuel subsidy is off and dollar is floating. Too many challenges happening to Nigerians, and this is not a very good policy. The federal government is not being sensitive to the plight of Nigerians, and whoever gave the directive is not being sensitive at all. And they need to reduce the tariffs on this because it will impact on transportation costs.
Okay.
But the government side is saying, this is free economy. This is what will happen. Once dollar goes up, everybody else would have to deal with the challenge of what.
So how do we bring dollar to go down? We need to increase manufacturing and produce and export more so we can get more. So you just have to start thinking within. It's crazy.
And more.
Okay, Daily Sun. ISWAP, Boko Haram in supremacy battle. KYC. Bank customers experts expose CBN's directive on social media handle. Salah, Muslim faithful lament RAM foodstuff prices hike. Aviation unions right Tinubu warn of industry's collapse. Kogi Guba, ACF chairman worries over rising violence. And Kano's release central to peace in Southeast, says Ohaneze. Okay.
Let me take the Muslim faithful. So it's just like a continuation. It's related to what you took earlier, and is saying that Muslim faithful, as you know, we're approaching Salah and we know that government has given Tuesday and Wednesday as public holidays, but everyone is screaming and shouting. Price of everything has gone up. People are saying in Ondo State that the high cost of RAM is as a result of the removal of subsidy, and that the prices of these RAMs, they used to be in 2022 and 20, they were much lower as compared to what it is now. They're saying it goes for 100,000, 250, and 320,000 for RAMs right now. And they say that this is not even that there's a particular group of Nigerians that are benefiting from this. They say buyers are crying, sellers are also crying, because they're saying that the amount that they are buying it at is high as well. The cost of transportation because of the removal of subsidies affecting it as well. Buyers are unable to buy, so sellers have RAMs just waiting to see how Nigerians can come and buy. So everyone is affected. And there goes your, you know what you read, which is it's not about these
Right.
things.
Right.
Let us just concentrate on what we can afford.
So in the past, where one chief would just buy 20 rams and distribute to the neighborhood,
yeah.
it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't. In reality, you can't afford more than 2 rams.
I heard someone was,
You know, so
was gifted 100 rams that he refused. A
Yeah.
government person.
you refuse that,
Yes, he refused.
That's
He's a
that's
government
patriotic.
person.
That's
Yeah.
very patriotic.
Okay, Ohanes Ndigbo has again appealed to the federal government to release the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, according to the president of the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Group, Chief Emmanuel Wanyanwu. He said that he made the appeal during the inauguration of the women and youth wing of the group. He said that he was insisting that Kanu's release was central to peace in the southeast. He also said that no amount of, if you like, he said even if you appoint 100 service chiefs from the southeast, that's not going to bring peace. And what's going to bring peace, according to him, is the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And that was a pretty strong statement. He said, if you ask me, my advice is for Mr. President to give what the southeast needs is the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB leader. Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Forex scarcity persists as CBN resumes intervention. Butchers stoned to death in Sokoto for blasphemy. Tackle insecurity head-on. Baptist Conference urges service chiefs. Dogara to Tinubu brings subsidy cabal to book. Court stops Kano government from further demolition. Lagos received 7,000 petitions against land grabbers. UK waiting for Tinubu to name minister as his envoy. Subsidy, lack of license, foreign exchange, others hinder fuel importation. Ortom accuses Governor Alia of persecution. Zenith Bank's Mukhtar Adam wins CFO of the year. In governor election, Elder Council raises alarm over political violence in Kogi. Okay, which story?
Yes, so I feel marketers have not been able to import petrol into Nigeria due to mainly lack of license and foreign exchange. That's the main problem. So they said that many oil marketers have applied for the licenses and they are waiting for the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, to release it. They're also saying, I think they looked at about 6 companies, including Etena. Those ones have gotten their license, but they've not started importing the product into the country. And they are saying because of the flotation of foreign exchange rates by the Central Bank of Nigeria, they are finding it very difficult to go into the business. So there was a visit to that by the Vanguard to many private depots in Apapa, Lagos. And they are saying that there's no even sign of any importation in the coming weeks. Those marketers are not ready to even import anything. What they have, the money available to them is not enough. The prices have tripled. So with the resources available to them, they are not even able to buy in the product. And they are waiting to have conversations with banks to see how they can get loans to be able to import. And that one is, delaying them. And the fact that also the fuel has definitely increased in some depots. They are selling like 505 naira to a liter right now. So.
Okay, we have to wrap up. Is there any story that's really important?
The security, dealing with our insecurity, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, is going to be meeting with 79 police force, the mobile police squadron, to brainstorm on the security challenges of Nigeria. They said the goal of this meeting is to think up new operational strategies for improving training, tactical engagement for better public safety, and general security of all and sundry. I think it's a good agenda, and these are people that are on the streets. These are the 79 Police Mobile Force Squadron, and I'm hoping that God will give them wisdom to be able to help solve our major insecurity challenge.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. According to the report that we have, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has approved 140 as the minimum admission cutoff mark for admission into universities in Nigeria, while that of polytechnics and colleges of education is pegged at 100. Now, this has generated quite a bit of controversies. While some are saying it appears that our standard of education is further dropping, others are saying that this could help to bring more people into the educational bracket. What are your thoughts on this? Join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so since JAMB made this announcement, everybody has been talking about it, and many have expressed worry over the fact that it seems the cutoff mark is reducing and it's going to make it just the university to be free for all. Others are saying it's a welcome development so that more people can have the opportunity to get university education. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree or do you disagree?
Me, personally, I do not agree. I think the minimum requirement is too low. That's 140 over 400. That's less than 50% of the total, score. And it just doesn't speak well for, our own standard of education, and also does not encourage those who work hard, to do well. It does not encourage students to want to do their best or give their best, because they know that, it keeps falling. And we know that it keeps falling nearly every other 3 years or 4 years. And I think the 140 is quite low. There are other ways to encourage students to get into schools, into universities, and that is from primary and secondary school. Make sure that education is, we're giving them the right education. We have good teachers. They are studying even after school. That's the way to encourage people. The sort of students you want in university are those who need to have the capability mentally, intellectually, to be able to take on those courses. You don't want to get people in university who, one, either intellectually they are not capable. Secondly, maybe mentally they are not even motivated enough to be there. I just got the barest minimum, I'm here, so I'll give my barest minimum in university. In university, when you are expected to do a lot of work by yourself, you get minimum, lectures and time with your lecturers, but then you're meant to build up on it. You need to study more, and I do not feel that someone who is unable to even pass JAMB at a certain, score will be able to give the best in university. There's no parental guidance there. There's no one pulling you aside and telling you to do better. So you have to sort of prove yourself there. I'm not also saying that people who come in with low marks have not made a difference in their lives, but we're saying that this is a university education. We're saying that this is a space where we want people to understand that they're going somewhere. And also, I feel that the reason why we're willing to reduce marks is because we do not know that this means that those who go to university will end up being our leaders tomorrow, will end up being our inventors tomorrow. We just think it's about passing another thing. Oh, university gone, I've passed it, checked, and then I go. But if we understand that these are our future leaders, our future presidents, our future politicians, our future doctors and nurses, what caliber of students would we want to go into those sectors?
Let me come to you guys. What are your thoughts on this?
For me, Nigeria keeps redefining what success means and what passing means, and we're redefining it negatively. We have a big challenge on our hand as a country. And the big challenge we have is that people do, the global space, the global educational sector does not respect our certificate. Now, they have not even heard that we are putting 140 as a benchmark for pass. 40% is a benchmark to say you have passed. That's below average. And it's like we're recreating what is our metric, and yet we're playing in a global space. So I feel that what exactly is JAMB trying to achieve? What is UTME trying to achieve? Because if the purpose is not known, then abuse is inevitable. And as it is right now, I don't think that the UTME system of passing people is understanding what the purpose of that exam is supposed to be. It's supposed to gauge who is suitable to go into the university and would be able to learn
and meet up
to the standard. So if we are now saying that anybody below average, between 40 to 50, anybody from 40% can get into the university, then what are we going to churn out? With the current system of people getting 200 to get to the university, we still have underbaked graduates, people that go through school, they cannot read properly, they can't construct a sentence. People will send you application letter, Murayo, and you would read later and you're wondering, did this person finish from the university? And you see they actually finish with 2-1. So we have a crisis on our hand because we don't have quality education being processed through our university, and then we are still reducing pre-qualifications to get into the university. I don't agree with this. I even feel like we should question those that came up with this policy and ask them, what exactly do you want to achieve?
Let me come to BC, because some will argue that it's not about how you get in, it's about how you come out. So some will say, listen, yes, you might come in with a low grade, with a low cutoff mark, but if you're able to get into the university space and be molded and, and realize the importance of education, you can actually have a star come out of that. So maybe we shouldn't be too quick to judge the low cutoff mark.
Mariah, the foundation you have in primary and secondary school is actually what determines how grounded you are when your mind is being exposed in the university. The university doesn't form you. The university just adds more knowledge to what you know and keeps expanding. But if you do not have the right foundation, you're going to miss out on that. We've seen people who got into the university and they were not able to cope with the courses. They keep jumping from one department to another department because it was difficult for them to cope when their mind started expanding, because they were already not used to that solid foundation. It always has a ripple effect. The university education also is supposed to be the highest cadre of education. People who get into the university are people who have been tried, tested, trusted, who would have the capacity to carry on with education that will be handed down to them in the university. Remember, in the university, you are your own teacher, so to speak. The lecturers don't follow you one-on-one in your table to see whether you're writing the notes or whether you're buying the textbooks, whether you're doing the assignments. It's only your scores at the board that you check and you see where you are. If you need to repeat, if you need to have a carryover, you need to do it again. You are your own learner. You are an individual learner in that space. You must have that capacity, which JAMB is supposed to be the one testing before you get into the university. And it keeps lowering the standard. I had a conversation with somebody sometime, and I said, the university education is not supposed to be for everybody. But like everything we do in this part of the world, we water it down. We make a mess of it. That you carry your certificate and you go abroad and have to redo that course all over again because nobody recognizes your certificate. Country as small as Ghana, their certificate is more valued when you travel outside to the global space compared to what we have in Nigeria. And I remember when I was in school, in primary school, there were foreigners who were sending their children because of the quality of education that we had here. Now everything is about, so I'm asking myself, is it about the numbers now? Are they, because from the newspaper review that Miriam took concerning JAMB and admissions, they don't even have enough space to take in all the people that are writing JAMB and
that was the
so
point I was trying to
if you keep lowering it to 140 and 130 and 100, are you saying that you're doing it just to make the money because you still do not have the capacity to take in all of them? So my advice is, while we're looking at JAMB to please give us a proper standard, this is embarrassing. If my son writes an examination over 400 and comes with 140, I will flog him. So why will he have 140 and get into the university? It's embarrassing. Are you telling us that we do not have the capacity to pass properly? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying, because like Topper said, the international organization, they are watching. They are looking at us. Tomorrow, all those graduates that are half-baked will come out, they'll go to their countries, then they'll go back to school all over again. That certificate is useless. So we need to know, I would have advised, right? If JAMB is finding it difficult to get people who can, meet up, people who would pass the examinations from 200 to 250, can they scrap it and do remedial? Because what I see is people get into the university with the JAMB, and then they're struggling across departments. They are not fitting. It's just a few of them who really know what they want to do and have a passion for it, that fit in and fit in well. So why don't you come in? Let's take, for instance, I want to study political science. I've passed my WAEC in flying colors. I get into the university, I pick a remedial form, and I do 1 year introducing me to the concepts of political science. I have 3 months to decide, do I want to continue with political science or go to another department that I'm better suited for? When I pass my remedial, I move straight into the university. I know that I'm equipped for that course. Can we start looking at that so that we have the right people who can do the courses that they are better suited for, and then when they come out, they have value to give. We still come out and go to different organizations, and you're learning all over again on how to be something that you should have learned in the university.
We'll have to be great to hear from Mr. Fabian. He's the person that can give us information, because I'd like to believe that we had experts, policy, because this was a decision that was collectively agreed at a policy meeting. Now, these are people who have been in the education for years. So we'd like to hear from their own end exactly what are the factors that were considered to have this review. Because we know that some individual universities have their own individual benchmarks. Yeah. So this is across for JAMB. So it would be really great to hear. But when we go on a break, we'll see if we can get somebody to shed some light on the part of the government on this. And we don't have a minister yet. We don't know for education. So maybe if the new minister eventually comes, can also have some input on this and see what it can be done to review if it's needed. But let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we open our phone lines here. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So to give us, shed more light on this issue with JAMB is the Information Director and the PRO for JAMB, Mr. Benjamin Fabian. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Good to have you on the show this morning. So before you came on, we're discussing our thoughts on the recently reviewed cutoff mark for JAMB, and many have really criticized it, saying that it was lowering the standard of educational qualifications. Could you give us an idea, an insight into why it was a collective decision amongst your policymakers within the JAMB, within JAMB?
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to plead with Nigerians that we have to be very careful when we begin to discuss these issues, especially when we don't seek expert opinion. When you dabble into something that you don't have understanding, the tendency is that you begin to mislead the public, and people will begin to feel as if the system they run is inferior to what is obtainable elsewhere. First, let me explain this. There is nothing like cutoff mark. That word, that concept is an aberration. We don't have anything called cutoff mark. So whatever you are dwelling on, it's just an exercise in futility that you have dwelled so much on what does not exist. What we have come up with on Saturday is the minimum admissible score. Don't forget, there are universities that have adopted their minimum to be 250, some 220, some 210. And the meeting collectively agreed that, look, no institution, no degree awarding institution should admit below 140. Below 140. It's not a cutoff mark, it is a minimum. It's a minimum. But even having said that, most of the people that are arguing and all those things, have they also looked at the issue of direct entry, A-level, where the pass mark is 2 points? EE. Once you have EE, the A-level, anywhere in the world, that is the minimum. You can be admitted to read, even in London, University of London. And what is EE? EE is 2 points. And when you take 2 points and compare it over 16, and then the 140 over 100, what do you get? So let us not begin to say things that will make people feel as if the education that we run in Nigeria is superior to what is sustainable elsewhere. If I want to go to University of Ghana today, what qualifies me for admission at University of Ghana is the O-level. I am not going to write JAMB to go to University of Ghana. I'm not going to write down to go to University of London. What qualifies me is the O-level, the Arusha Convention acceptable requirement, the O-level, 5 O-level credits. The JAMB we are doing is just to run these candidates. If tomorrow we wake up and we have sufficient spaces in this tertiary institution to admit everybody, there won't be need for this admission, for this examination, sorry. That explains why if you look at our name, it says joint admissions and matriculation, but there is no examination in it. Examination is just a vehicle that we are adopting to achieve that mandate for which we are set up. The mandate is that, look, the first 6 universities in Nigeria came together to say, let us have a central admission body that will coordinate the exercise so that we don't have duplicity, multiplication, and all this, so that candidates don't secure admission on 1 or 3 places. Because the spaces were beginning to shrink. That was how JAMB came
Mr.
into
Feb,
it. But to guarantee to ensure equity and fairness, examination is conducted. To summarize what I'm saying is that what you are talking about is a minimum,
Mr. Fabian, I think Mr. Fabian, that's the issue, because they feel that the minimum should be a bit higher than that, because when you do that, you're giving some universities the allowance to bring in people who probably don't have the intellectual capacity to come into university in the first place.
That is also wrong. First of all, every university anywhere in the world has the right to admit the kind of candidate that they want to admit. And no system, no country that has all the universities that are ranked at the same level. If you go to US today, you talk about Harvard. Even within the precincts of Harvard, there are other universities that are close to Harvard that are not known. So every university defines its own standard. You cannot say all the universities in Nigeria should operate at the same standard. That is also wrong. Today in Nigeria, the University of Lagos, the kind of requirement it will want to admit its candidate will not be the same thing with the university in wherever. I don't want to mention them. University of Ibadan, we have its own requirements. So this university will grow, will define their own standards, and others will come out like that. So you cannot say all universities should be on the same level. But even having said that, the JAMB examination will conduct is not a defining standard.
All right.
I don't know why people label so much. Instead of us to sit down and begin to talk about the quality of secondary school we have, because that is the foundation. That is where the standard is defined. If today we don't have good secondary schools, and then we're talking about JAMB, we are wasting our time, because if all the foundation is destroyed, the building cannot stand. But let me also say this. Let me emphasize this. Please, I want you to take this thing very serious. The examination we conduct is a ranking examination.
Yeah.
And that explains why when people talk about why not last more than 2-3 years, we say no, it's not possible, because it's a ranking examination. It's not like the TVC wants to employ today, and they conduct an interview. If you don't get employed, and they want to employ next year, they're not going to use that examination that they conducted last year to employ for next year. It's a ranking, just to rank candidates, place them in this particular space. So it's a minimum that nobody should go to.
All right, let me get a few more questions in for you, Mr. Fabian, because lots of questions are coming. Go ahead, Mariam.
Yes, so where I was going to go with my question, you have emphasized it at the end, which is you're saying it's a ranking examination. And although you seemed a bit upset, when you started answering the question, it's best to answer these questions so that people are aware. Some of these conversations may come across to you as, we don't know, people are just talking without understanding what they're saying, but it's because we have interest in this and we want to know more. Yeah. So now when you say it's a ranking examination, because a lot of parents think that this, and we celebrate it, we're excited about it for our children, they think that this is like a minimum requirement to get into university. And if you say it's just a ranking, are you saying it's not that important then for students? Let me just finish. I'll finish and then you can respond. And then when you keep lowering this ranking, are you saying that you are ranking our universities lower and lower every time you reduce the minimum requirements for students? And also, I know you said JAMB is not like a standard exam, but do you think that there's an unintended consequence of making Nigerians less motivated to pay attention to their education or do well in these examinations?
Not at all. Let me explain. Let me say this. Today, so many countries are coming to Nigeria to come and understudy what we're doing, so that they can also establish a central body like JAMB. Because population is, the people are expanding, spaces are shrinking and all those things. So people are beginning to see how do we ensure that we create an agency that will guarantee equity and fairness. I have not mentioned that it's not a standard examination. The standard is there according to what it is established to achieve. But what I am saying is that, just like my registrar will always give this illustration, TVC is invited to go and see Mr. President. And they say, okay, they have a vehicle that will take 6 people. And then there are about 10 people. And then the managing director decided, okay, what do we do? Every member, the qualification is that you are a staff of TVC. That qualifies you to go to Villa to go and see Mr. President. But we have space, only 6 space. What do we do? The man has come up with an idea. Okay, let's do an exam. Let's just do a test. The first 6 people that will pass, they will go into the vehicle and go to Abuja to see Mr. President. And the first person score 10 over 100. Of course, if they are 10 over 100, somebody will tell you they failed this thing. The second person score 9, then the last person score 1. The sixth person score 1, others score 0. Are you going to leave the person that scored 1 because he has scored 0? No. You are looking for 6 people. And the last person score 1. At least it's better than the 7th person, the 8th person, and 9th person. You pick it. And once you fill your slot, that is all. So that is the way this examination is conducted. The candidate, it is celebrated, good and fine, yes, you have this score, because you are competing with others. If I want to read medicine in University of Ibadan, if I have anything less than 350 and 320, I don't even stand a chance. That is how the competition is. So the issue of lowering standard does not come into being. It depends on whatever you are aspiring to go or where you are aspiring to go. If I want to read medicine in University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, University of City, I must study to score high. That is the competition. If I want to read education somewhere and all those things, well, because the competition is not there. If I score for 140 and they get the opportunity. And in any case, let me say this. When people talk about standard, I don't know what they're talking about. For instance, let me give you one example. In colleges of education, most colleges of education can't even fill 20-30% of their vacancies. What you are discussing in the studio, or what you are saying is there is that, look, let us close all these colleges. Because we can't have candidates, we can't have the standard we want according to you. So let's close them down. Because if you say, okay, let us admit only candidates with 160, 180, 200 into colleges because they are teacher education, the foundation, they will train the teacher, they will train Nigeria, all this, and we don't have them, then we'll close the institution. It is according to the subscription that you have. There are universities that, even private universities that have given their minimum as 200, minimum for any program, 200. There are some that have given their minimum at 250, minimum. It depends on how many people that are aspiring to them. But for institution whereby you don't have anybody coming to your school, you are trying to see how you can get candidates. Why won't you take the minimum that is given? In any case, the existence, the establishment of universities is to train these people and bring them up and ensure that they are what the society wants them to be. So it is not that you're bringing people that are already what you want them to be and stuff like
Point taken.
That's it. Sir, your point is even scaring me the more because it's opening my eyes to see that a lot of people are not really paying attention to education. And, we can just go with the barest minimum. And, when you explained the barest minimum, there's something he called it that is not cut-off mark. I think it's the same thing. It's just the semantics. We're just using different, use of language.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not language. Please understand. When you say something is cut off, what that means is that once anybody gets that, he's qualified to be admitted.
Okay, but you've explained.
When you say something is minimum, what that means is that you're not supposed to go lower. Like we say, okay, we want to employ in this system, we just need a graduate. What that means is that you must have a first degree to be qualified to be employed. That does not mean that once you have a first degree, then you carry your back and then go and start working.
Yes.
No.
Okay, I get you. But in your explanation as well, there are some universities that may not have people coming, which they can go with that minimum. So it's almost the same thing. But that's not my point,
If you don't have, why not?
Yes.
If you don't have, why not? So are you suggesting that our university should close shop?
No.
Is that your suggestion?
Okay.
Are you suggesting that our university should close shop? Which one is better for you?
Okay, so,
upgrade.
okay, may I ask, sir, the emphasis is so much on universities having students as against universities having students who are qualified.
It's not the emphasis. The existence of education is that we will have candidates that we train. Without candidates, there will be no system, no university.
Okay.
It's a
And then
foundational
let me
issue.
tell you one thing. The university education, the university market is a global market. What exists elsewhere is what we are also practicing here. Okay. We have only introduced examination because we don't have the spaces that others have. And I've told you earlier, I said, look, if you look at the trend of our subscription, because you're talking about education that is making your care and all this thing. The reward system, what you should be discussing there is that what is the reward system for people that read education? It's not that you want to force you yourself in that studio. If your child, will you want him to go to college education to go and read the education? You wouldn't want that. Why do we want to come and pontificate? We sit there and we talk things that we know right inside our mind that these are the truth. How many people in good conscience we want their children will advise them, look, go and fill down from big education, BA education, BSc education, and all this thing. How many of them?
We don't have enough teachers.
The problem is not the program. The problem is the reward system. By the time we dwell much, we talk about the reward system, and then that reward system is what will attract people. Why do people want to go and read medicine? Because they know that at most case scenario, you have something to do. And when you get something to do, the reward system is perfect, it's good. And that explains the competition. For medicine today, you cannot get medicine anywhere for less than 300 scores. But for education, even at 140 that we're talking, there are people that won't want to go in. Education, agriculture. That is the problem. The problem is the reward system. Once you up the reward system, the scores will also go up.
Okay, I think we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Let me let him go. I think he's made his point. Thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin Faber. I think you've really shed some light and opened our eyes to a few other things that are important. There's a lot of conversation that needs to be had, especially the education that happens before we even get to university level. Because for me is the crux of this, of where this is going, or what has informed this review of policy. But thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We're going to go on a break now. When we come back, we'll try to unpack a bit of the information we just received. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the issue of JAMB. We had to get some clarity from JAMB directly. I'd like to open our phone lines. I'm told we have a caller already from Abuja. Shade, good morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, you're live.
From Abuja.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Yes. I want the man to explain this in clear terms. What minimum and cutoff represent, so that I may not mislead my children. Cutoff and minimum, are they not the same thing? Please. Thank you very much.
Okay, so based on our understanding, what he's saying is that when you say cutoff, it means that once you have 140, you can be admitted into universities, any university, 140. That's what cutoff means, is the minimum. Now, but when he said minimum, what he was saying is that once you have minimum, there's a possibility that you might get or you might not get in. That now school will now be the one to determine if they can take you based on their own internal cutoff. But JAMB just puts that as a guide, as a baseline for anybody who's taking university. That's really difficult. In some cases, you can say it means the same thing in different ways. But listen, the point is that
this is from JAMB.
This is from JAMB.
And you know JAMB, when they ask you the question, you must take the correct answer. And they have told us.
According to JAMB. All right, so from what he has said, go ahead, let me come to you.
So, men, we do have a problem.
Yeah.
We do have a problem. And listening to the PRO for JAMB, I am still not, it does not look like there is an intention to really solve the problem, because from what he said, what he admitted to was that the problem is not from us. We are reacting to what the schools are giving us. So you are now pointing finger at UTME that we are reducing cutoff mark, but we had to reduce because the people we are getting were not passing to the level expected. So I listened to him and I saw two major issues. One, we have a huge challenge with our secondary and primary school education where we churn out people into university. And two, we have a major issue with our educational system in terms of teachers. We are never going to get qualified teachers with this structure.
Absolutely.
Never. If our university of education, if our colleges of education are getting the worst, the dredge, you know, when you finish, what is left at the bottom, not the bottom part of jollof rice is sweet. No, this is like dredge, which is when you get the best liquid up. What is left is what you're supposed to throw away. We now throw them into colleges of education to go and teach the next batch. We have a major problem. I feel like in terms of thinking of solution, is either we totally scrap college education and let it be a case of everybody go and get the best education, you are very good. Then people that there are people I know that they like to teach. And when they get to schools that are paying them well, they will stay there. BC opted to teach. It wasn't a condition. She did not study education. She liked it. People in my children's school, I've spoken to them, qualified, they didn't study education. They love to teach. And they went into the school. So let us stop putting education, people that are going to do education as the worst of our society, and we let people go to school because they really love what they are doing.
Okay, let me take this call from Tokumbo. Good morning, Tokumbo. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Mbagada, you're live. Yes.
What the man is trying to say, which I even wanted to call before even, he's trying to say the minimum is trying to say that naturally it will go with the law of demand and supply. As people apply, it will determine, because even if they put 140, it will be for some kind of courses that most people don't apply for. And then when you look at it, many private universities don't even care about JAMB. Whatever, they just care about you doing JAMB. Actually, to know whether someone is brilliant or intelligent is when you do your WAEC or SSE. JAMB is multiple questions. It's objective. The fact that you miss it does not mean you're not brilliant. You understand what he's trying to say? So the minimum days that they won't cut you off. But most schools and most good courses like law that I read and medicine will still be doing 250, 270, 280 as their own cut-off marks. So it's not going to change anything. It's actually the same thing, but they're just rephrasing it. Back in the day, they may tell you 200. Yes, but that 200 is unfair because some people actually got 180 and should probably be in some courses, and they will be good. Then maybe some departments don't have anybody there. Right. It won't make sense, and some schools, the president says the law of demand and supply, just like this dollar thing. That's what he's trying to say.
Thank you, Mr. Tokunbo. You see, when he was talking, Mr. Tokunbo, we can't scrap all of the. You see, do you know even in basic education, do you know we hardly have Yoruba teachers. We're all saying let's just teach our local languages. You hardly have Yoruba teachers. Geography teachers are very, very scarce. Yes. Fine arts, we're having so many. What you have is your basic mathematics, English, and possibly science. Most teachers right now are we don't have specialized teachers anymore because many people are not going into those. Many people, the point is that many people are refusing to go to those areas of teaching. So it's a bigger problem. Aside from the JAMB telling us.
My own problem that I'm having now after this conversation is that why am I writing JAMB? Why am I giving my children money? Why am I trying to raise money to buy JAMB forms if JAMB really does not matter? Because that's what I'm hearing.
Just for ranking.
I'm also saying, who is setting the JAMB question? If we're saying that the cutoff mark is reducing because it's showing the failure rate, people keep failing the JAMB exam, so they keep reducing the minimum requirement. Who is setting the JAMB questions? Are they reflective of what is being taught in schools? Is it that they are setting questions away from what our students are learning in schools? Or they're learning what they are teaching them in school?
Or is it that your children are just not prepared for that exam?
That's what I would like to know. And if it does not matter whether they pass the JAMB or they are just ranking them to know their failure rate or their success rate, why am I begging one person or the other to please help me raise funds so I can buy JAMB? All I have to do is do WAEC. But the thing is, it's a requirement to go into university. If I don't have JAMB, I cannot apply to federal university.
And then you will still write post-UTME there and pay money
so
for
now the question is making me ask, what then is the use of having JAMB offices, staff, everything that we're... Is it just to raise money for federal government?
Let me take this call.
Taxing me somehow through my children?
Yes.
Let me take this call from Shola. He's calling from Ikorodu. Good morning, Shola. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Good morning, Mariah.
Morning.
Good morning to all the ladies in the studio.
Morning.
You have all spoken well. But God bless you. You see, the area I'm having problem in this issue is our foundation.
Yeah.
That started with primary school and the secondary school. When you go to all these private schools, you will see the teacher, just a lady or a boy that just finished secondary school that needs something to be doing. They employ that person to be teaching a primary school student. Which is very, very bad. You don't know if that person actually has passion for teaching, he has the skill, or he has the qualification before you put him there. Because you want somebody to occupy that class, you just employ them and put them. Where we have problem is our foundation. And the Bible says, when the foundation is destroyed, then what can the righteous do? So when the foundation is not good, you can't go anywhere.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shola. I was going to talk, someone was saying about we actually have to pass WAEC before you get JAMB.
Yeah.
So I guess how does that then affect the results
for JAMB?
JAMB, yeah.
So the thing is, I honestly do not understand the use for JAMB, if it's, according to his explanation, just for ranking, because I do not see what is being ranked. And I know he tried to explain the cutoff and the minimum, but what I get is, if I have 140, even if some schools will not take me because I have 140, there are still schools that will take me. So I would, if I apply to, maybe let's say a federal government university like Unilag, and they don't take me in the course I want to study, I look for a state university that would likely take me with the 140. So I am also not disqualified, and I can have access because there are schools who are willing to take me because they are not having a lot of students come there. So it's still the same problem. We still have a lot of people who will have that peg of 140 have access to university education. And the problem is so enormous because the courses that we need people to really come, we need professionals to handle. There's no proper remuneration there. People do not want to study education. People do not want to study agriculture. People do not want to study fine arts anymore. I think this is where the Ministry of Education needs to sit down with this organization, this JAMB, UTME, and the people who are going to be handling proper incentives for some of these courses so that we can get more people to study some of these courses. When they see that incentives are there, they are going to be having their bursary paid, they are going to have jobs, their salaries are upscaled. We will now get people who are interested and passionate in teaching to be in that place. Now, that College of Education that you have like a cutoff or minimum of like 100 has always been a problem for me because we are employing people who will not really be qualified to teach those children, nurture those children to the courses they're supposed to do. And we say because a lot of people are not coming for teaching, so we keep reducing it. Can we sort out the things that will make people come and see how that works and see if it's okay to just forget about this ranking examination? You do your WAEC, you pass your examinations, you apply to the schools, they give you their own standard exam, and then you get into the university if you qualify.
Take this call from Daily. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please. I just want us to understand what Dr. Figan said.
Okay.
He has actually explained the two issues that the public are actually just misunderstanding. The first issue is this, that somebody scored 140. He just a point out the fact that person is eligible for admission and not cut off. Each university and each department has his own cutoff. Even somebody might score 270 and not even be admitted at the end of the day, depending upon the number of candidates that have applied into that program.
Yeah.
So that is one. Then two, you see, Dr. Figan said one thing that I probably want JAMB itself to borrow. He cited some developed clients where examination like UTME is not being conducted. Why are we then conducting UTME in the first instance?
Exactly.
If students can easily be admitted, that through the use of the O-level and some other related certificates. So personally, I'm of the opinion that each university should be given the opportunity of conducting its own exam as it was in the 10th past. Thank you very much.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. As well, taking the final lap of this, I'd like us to really talk to one of the things Mr. Sapirian said and help us understand that we have issues of that failure rate. A lot of people, and it goes back to the foundation. And I know that I was saying I had worked with the Ministry of Education, and one of the things that we had tried to study then was the Finland model. Because in Finland, an educationist is like one of the premium jobs in their country. They took a deliberate action to employ teachers and elevate them to that level, almost like a doctor. You know, so the kind of salary you earn as a teacher is almost the same as that of a doctor in a country like Finland. So it's a deliberate action to ensure more people go into the educational teaching. Also, I observed in the issues they had in basic education, especially in Lagos State. I know that the commissioner had tried to introduce some kind of a system where when they observed the fallout, there was a pyramid where lots of people get into secondary school. Then from GSS, they start to fall off. Either some get married, some get pregnant, or the guys get into drugs. You know, they were having issues, kids were having issues with that GSS3 getting into SS1. So what they did now is make a division where those who are intellectually sound or maybe academic, they go into the into one segment where they now do their WAEC. others diversify and go into other skills, technical skills, and they learn. At the end of the day, they still meet up and still write their exam, but it's a different focus. So when you don't get to lose more of your secondary school students. We need more of this kind of deliberate action across board, because what we are finding is that the children that were churning into secondary school, many of them are not getting to that level to be able to pass their JAMB to get into universities. It is a major problem.
So, okay, so for me, there are many issues. Starting from the foundation, the first key issue is most of our public schools and low-income private schools only teach smart children. So their focus is you are smart, you pass. The rest they push to the next class or make you repeat until 3 times and they just push you to go. We are teaching, focusing on brilliance. We're not teaching on saying that everybody should learn and understand the subjects. And I can say this for a fact because I had a son that the first year 1, everybody in his class were reading, like 80% of the class were reading, and he wasn't reading. It was a struggle to get him to read. When you ask him the questions, he would answer. But because the school is a school that is not a low-income private school, it's a private school that knows that everybody must learn, he got to do private. There were assistant classes to help him to catch up. His last result, even he was proud of it. Some children need extra help in learning. Our public school system and our low-income private school neglects them, and they get into the secondary school, and we now have a huge number of people that allegedly have passed, but they're not able to properly function in the university, or university level. That's a big problem. Another part of the problem is that we need guidance and counseling. There are people that have traits for art. Parents are pushing them because their parents don't see where the money is in art. But there is money in every industry. I have spoken to several people. I coach people on how to see money. That's my own area, is money. And I tell them, even wherever you find yourself, I will show you how the money can come out. Yeah. So we have guidance counselors that we don't have enough guidance counselors. When you get into your JSS1, somebody should work with you from JS1 to JS2, understanding your traits and help you to see the money in your skill, in your talents, and tilt you to the career path that will help you maximize those talents. Why don't we have enough geography teachers? Because they don't see the money. Why should a geography teacher only be teaching? They can earn a lot of money by the side. So we need to go overhaul our system. We have courses that are redundant in university. I studied science, laboratory technology. Somebody in school is studying that same thing right now.
What do you want to do?
Lab technician. What will you do with that lab technician as a course? What will you do with it? Because in actual fact, before now, your machines have taken away the need for a laboratory technician. There are machines that are doing what you are doing, how to store chemicals. Why is somebody going to spend 4 years in the university to learn how to store chemicals? So we are wasting 4 years, and she will come out and now have to go and find a job in a bank or become a teacher somewhere. We have to overhaul.
Yeah. Okay. So what has brought us to this level is that emphasis.
So let me pause you for a second. I have a call, so I'm waiting for a minute. Good morning. Thanks for calling, Yemi from Ibadan.
Morning, ladies.
Morning. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just on the lighter note. Is it a blue meeting today? I see everybody in blue.
Oh, just
the blue meeting.
It just happened.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Congratulations on your 10 years anniversary.
Thank you, Yemi.
Thank you. And congratulations on your book launch too. More wins in Jesus' name. Okay, on what's on ground, basically, somebody mentioned that we're going to stay close. We are all looking at plans, but we are forgetting the foundation. What happens to common income? What happens to our head? For someone was saying something about graduates who cannot speak English, who cannot write. I happen to also be an employer of labor. And trust me, when I'm going through interviews, I'm always using paracetamol because you have headache. But the truth is, it is not their fault. The foundation was destroyed from what we call primary school, write common exam. You're not so sound and good in English. How did you pass? You write one next, they bring their result, and you're seeing A parallel, and you're asking yourself, how did you get that result? Somebody graduated with A1 in chemistry. I asked the person to spell chemistry. The person could not spell chemistry. Is that JAMB's fault? No. So most times we also need to look away from what we are looking at now and look down. And then we're also talking about we like to compare ourselves with their abroad. People always say they're abroad. Let me tell you something. Their education system that we all have here, when you get there, you realize that it is not what we all think it is. At times, when you get there, you are shocked. You have to go, really? So where is the high pay coming from? So my point is, forget the above. Let's put our own. The foundation.
Thank you very much, Yemi.
So I wanted to say that what got us here is that, emphasis on paper qualification as against skill. Now, when people travel outside the country, nobody cares the paper qualification you have. The questions are usually, what can you do? And so they that brought this Western education for us had moved away from paper qualification. They have started expanding on their skill. So if you are not, the university system there is for very high intellectuals, high-performance intellectuals to attend the universities. Now, those people who are not as high in that, intellect, it doesn't mean that they are less, because we have different types of intelligence, and that's why we need to understand in this part of the world, when we are pushing our children to do science and do this, and we have different levels of intelligence. You can see a child who is just special intelligence, another person is just sports, another person is just relational. We need to begin to nurture those aspects of intelligence so that everybody can fit into where they're supposed to be. So if, for instance, you are not that high intellect, right, and you get like 140 in this examination and all of that, they can now begin to, from secondary school, they're already grooming you in the skills that you're supposed to be equipped for, your natural gifting. So they position you. You can finish your school, get your, find maybe your technical schools. We need to equip our technical schools. Find what you can do, get your certifications, and then you are working and you are seeing the money that you are working for. It's not about how many university degrees you have. It's about the impact that you're making. So our parents need to calm down so that we don't rush children, because what I see is, because everybody's children is in the university, my own must be there. They must go to school. And so we start paying for special centers. So we have a problem of we don't have enough qualified educationists to teach them in primary and secondary schools. We now register them in all these fraudulent areas where they collect double money for the examinations, whether it's WAEC or JAMB, and they pass the examinations, we push them, they struggle in with the 140, they come out, they have nothing to do about what they have studied. They cannot even engage you on what they have studied, and then everybody's looking for a job. Government is not providing job. But if you raise your children in the proper qualified education, they will begin to create solutions for the problems that they face according to what they are gifted in. So we need to, everybody needs to have a turnaround of our orientation in education.
Let me take this call. So hold it for a minute. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
So have I.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mike. You're live, Mike. Go ahead, please. You're listening to the TV, possibly. Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Miriam.
So I think for me, based on all that we have discussed and our different opinions, is that things that are standing out for me right now is that we are in a different time. Times have changed. So the way we educate our children, the way we get our teachers, the courses that we're going to be studying or should study or should be let go, all those things have changed now. And one of the things, the problems that we have, we're talking about teachers, whether we like it or not, people do not want to go into, no matter how passionate we are about something, if it doesn't pay our bills, if we see no career path or growth, we would not go there. So there has to be something to encourage someone beyond your passion, to be in that space. So I guess that's where government will come in. And I love the example you gave about Finland, making teachers to be almost be on the same level as doctors. I've always thought that teaching is really the most important profession anywhere in the world. And once we are able to do that, we'll see a whole lot of difference in how our children are being educated, the sort of people that will be educating our children. Then we need to talk about teaching techniques, whether we like it or not. The world has moved on to online, internet. Children who cannot access quality education or even cannot just access some of these Ivy League schools. We're sitting in our homes and we're doing courses in Harvard, we're doing courses in Stanford. If government now realizes that and puts more investment in tech so that children in rural areas, children where teachers are unable to get there or refusing to go there, somehow are still able to get that form of education. So it's not zero. You know, because sometimes you go to the school, the teachers are not there, the child goes back home, but the child is able to get online. JAMB offices, I'm sorry, maybe we should change you people to online centers where children will go and be getting proper education, learning their past questions and knowing how to write the university exams better and getting better scores in their exams, because it just seems to me that the JAMB questions are not reflective of what the children are learning, or they are much higher than what they or the children are not learning. So these are the things I'm seeing. Obsolete courses, whether we like it or not, life is changing. Some things will not work anymore. There are courses that we used to run to do, now nobody even talks about them anymore. So that has to be something we look at every few years. What are these courses that people are not going? It's not only because of money that people do some things. Sometimes it's just that it's not necessary in our present world. Things have changed. And also the system is a money system. People are motivated by how much they can earn. People want to pay bills. People want to live a better life. So if we know that, then we would arrange and we'll arrange our courses, we'll arrange our curriculum in such a way that will motivate people to take on some courses and you know, be at par with the global system right now.
Okay, Barrister Lovett has been holding. Good morning. Thanks for calling, madam.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I've been listening to you, everybody, but my own contribution is this. In Nigeria, fine, even no matter the kind of school, once you graduate, I'm a lawyer, for instance, you still have to learn, let me use the word, learn on the job. What you study, you have to still learn. It's just the truth. Like, I'm a lawyer now. I'm practicing. I don't work in a company. I'm in litigation. There are some things, if you don't practice, you will not know it. You understand? There are some of us, they've been lawyers for 20 years and all that. Because they are not in practice, they may be in the bank, they are novice. So we learn every day. As a Nigerian, there's nothing wrong with my country. I'm very proud being a Nigerian. I'm happy with our educational system. But we learn on our job, in our career, we keep learning. Our teachers, they tried. You know, I still remember my secondary school teachers, my university teachers. We still have to learn. Like, look at you guys. Some of you didn't study journalism. So you're learning on what you're doing. So if you leave what you're doing now and go back to your real career, you'll be a novice.
Thank you very much,
so
You know, this also highlights the importance of secondary school education. We've discussed around the world. Not when I was graduating, when I was leaving school, not everybody was going to the university. After graduation in secondary school, it was like, okay, everybody's going to start something, start a business, get a job, and they make it as that for me, that was the height that they finished their high school graduation. Because many people don't plan to go to college. Not everybody, university is not for everybody. I think we need to begin to inculcate that culture where you can actually still live a very fulfilled, successful life after a secondary school education. How do we get there? Foundation. UBEC, somebody needs to review UBEC. You know, UBEC was supposed to be an intervention where local governments were in charge of, states were in charge of their primary schools. And then UBEC came in to support. But somebody needs to go back and review, how have we done with UBEC intervention? Should we take basic education back to the local government? How do we ensure that the children we're churning out from primary school are actually qualified to enter secondary school? Because we're having a lot of children falling off. They're not getting at the proper education at that primary school level. So basic education is the foundation that we need to begin to redo and rejuggle. Because if we don't do that, when we now get to that secondary school graduation period, not everybody should go to university. Not everybody should qualify. People should actually have a decent life to move on to have a decent life.
Just a response to you, why a lot of Nigerians are insisting on going to university and insisting, you know, whether they feel like it or not, or whether they have the capability or not, is because we do not have a country or an economy that is working. Those who do not have the paper usually cannot access a lot of things. So we just throw them into the masses and they're struggling to find even what to eat or how to eat or where to apply themselves. So they've now figured, okay, it's those that get university qualification that can go and get a job. We know, but that's what has happened in the beginning. That's what it was. Those that would go to university would leave university, get a job. So everyone is going there now. Now that place is saturated, and sadly saturated not only with, not like with with capable people, but people who just want to get there, to be there, to be counted. So we need to make sure. That's why the country has to work on all levels. Nothing happens.
So the economy will feed that.
The economy has to be thriving. So that even though I did not finish from university, I'm a carpenter.
I can get a loan to build my business.
Yes.
And you still do well. I'll come to you, Chokwa, in a minute.
Respected for the skills that I have and get a loan, not because they were looking at my university skills or.
Let me take this call from Jos. Mariam from Jos. Oh, I'm so sorry. The other Mariam.
Kidding me. From Jos.
Yeah. Chokwa, go ahead.
Mr. Bashar said, contemporary curriculum and professionalization of teaching careers are the solution to drastically reduced unemployment. Mariam hit a very, very strong point with the comment about the economy, because our economy is not robust enough to accommodate many subsectors. So people are vying for the 1% job available or the 1% opportunities available. But if we create a more robust economy, we create more opportunities for people. We talk about plumbing. In the UK, in the US, you can be a plumber and you are very well paid. You are a professional plumber. You're a professional carpenter, a professional hairstylist. You get it. You are well paid. You don't necessarily have to have a white-collar job, or is it what they call it here? White-collar job. So we need to have such breakdown of opportunities within our economic sector that people can be doing plumbing. My carpenter can afford to send children to the same school that my children are going to. Is not any less than me. You know, we need to, in creating that opportunity for everyone to thrive, professionalizing every career path, we would decongest the desire to go and get a certificate and probably solve the problem of unemployment, because everybody will not be looking for how to get employed somewhere, but they'll be creating jobs for themselves.
Let me take this call. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. How are you doing, ladies?
Very well. Thank you, madam.
All right. I want to say something. I think the problem of this is parenting. We have a lot of children that are parents now. And the challenge is that most parents, they are competitive, too competitive. Even when they know the challenge of their children, they will not allow the school to do their job. And because private schools are looking for more beauty, they will bend rules sometimes to start. Like I run a school, and I have few children because I've consistently told parents the truth about their children and the need for them to allow them mature. I don't send children to secondary school from primary 5. I allow them to go to primary 6 till they are 10. So parents don't allow it. And some school owners, because they want to make money, they would yield to the parents' pressure. So I think the root cause of this problem is that parents are not allowing their children to go through the normal. We have a lot of graduate people come to my school, they are graduate, they come with their certificate, they are not employable. They can't even write good letters. So I look at them and say, okay, you that cannot write letters, are you the one that will teach children to write letters? When you cannot write your application properly, your resume are not properly written. So I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Let me just, add this thing. We need to understand that the university education is important so that they don't misinterpret what we're saying here. But there are jobs and there are careers that can do without being in the university. So those very professional careers like medicine, like law, those ones that need that, long years of study and practice and all of that would have their cutoff mark very high, because they need the kind of people that would hold that space. If you are going to be a medical doctor, you're holding human life in your hand. That's not the time to gamble 140 and 130, You have to really be in a stable place to do that. Those are very tough professional courses that the university, you must go through. But there are jobs of the future. They actually call them jobs of the future. Before, nothing was, podcasting was not a job. Mermaiding was not a job. You see people who go and learn professional mermaiding just to wear that thing and swim in the water. It's a job, and it's coming down here. There are different things now that you can do. Influencing was not a job at the time, but people earn a living from that. So we need to, we need to begin to flip our curriculum to, you know, take advantage of the present times and what we can. It's not the time that we're going to be teaching somebody how to do business administration using typewriter. In the universities, I still have some schools that they are using typewriter to teach. Who is going to use typewriter? Who is buying typewriter right now when you can do everything on your phone? So the Ministry of Education needs a proper overhaul and review, which is going to be regular. You need to pay attention to how the world is going and say, okay, what are the things our young people are interested in? So it's not about everybody come or gather, let's write this exam or it has come, or they write it and fail, and they have interest and they are doing well in other aspects. Right. So those other aspects, we must find them and begin to tailor them in. See, when somebody's skill is paying, we can always go back to school. I sat down here and did my MBA. I sat down here and did my master's. I did not do it before I came here. You can do it at any time, but you have to get to a point where your skill is honed in such a way that is paying for everything that you want, and then you can keep going back for education.
Let's take a few comments on social media, but I think that's where we need to therefore appeal to the president that whoever is going to make the Minister of Education is extremely crucial, because we need a visionary. We need somebody who is ready to do that overhaul. That overhaul you're talking about, who also has the kind of confidence and boldness that he has shown so far. Who's going to say, you know, take the bull by the horn and say, you know, this is what we're going to do. Drastic changes is needed in the educational system, because, as you said, the economy also kind of connects to this. So at every single level, we need somebody who's going to ensure that we make real drastic changes. Let me take a few comments and we run off.
Lukman says, I've been a teacher for over a decade, and you will be demotivated to teach when you get to class. The government is also not implementing the right policies. Our schooling models need to change. Larger percentage of learners attend public schools in pitiable conditions. I think this was the beginning. It says, JAMB is not our problem. In fact, they came to bridge the varsity admission gap, where admission seekers roam different schools, paying and seeking admissions. However, our problem is attitude towards education. You need to see how the learners at all levels take education in recent days.
We have to wrap up. You know, sometimes I like to say that we should review even the work of UBEC. Or UBEC will tell you that is a counterpart funding. The states too are supposed to show capacity before I can give them the money. So the states individually also have a responsibility to invest in education. So I give a percentage, the state gives a percentage, and then you have invest more in education. So it's a 360.
The minister, the one that left, called state governors out for not doing that.
For not doing that. It's a counterpart fund. It's supposed to come bring your own money also. But the point is, we need a huge overhaul of the educational sector. And this JAMB, is it baseline requirement or is it cut-off? However, we have a ranking. This JAMB ranking has further helped us understand the need of a overhaul in the educational sector. So we're hoping that whoever is appointed as minister in charge will do the needful. That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.